Special episode today on. This is not actually a game review. We usually do game reviews episodes. Today's a topic-based episode, and as you see, we have you, Creek
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
of UBT, and also first a video this time. First thing for us as well. It's gonna be interesting. Right?
So there are lots of first things in this podcast.
Yeah. So Mitch, thank you very much for coming. I know your spare time. It's weekend, but appreciate your time and
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. How was your weekend so far?
It's been good. We got back I think Thursday, and we had a day off, which was really nice. We don't get many days off during the week, so we had a pretty big schedule this past week. I think you guys mentioned before we had 3 flights. We left at 6 a.m. We got home at 8:30 at night, and a nice day off the next day, which was fantastic. And then, this weekend's been pretty cruisy. We had a really good training session yesterday on Saturday. And then some of the boys and I went and checked out the snow a little bit and saw some friends and just had a little outing together because, as I said, we don't get a lot of time to really get together off court. And it's nice to have a little bit of a laugh and dance and hang a bit of shit on each other. You've got to try and get plenty of time of that in. But today's a day off, and no better way than to be here with you boys.
So let's start off with some questions, right? Go ahead, Alex. You go.
So Mitch, first question, how did you get into basketball?
Look, I was young. I was probably 7 or 8 years old when I first started picking up a basketball. I was actually scared of the basketball. My mum can attest to this, but I had pockets in my shorts, and I used to run around with my hands in my shorts because I was scared to touch the basketball. So nothing has changed, clearly, But I started playing when I was young. I did a lot of different sports. I did like athletics, gymnastics, Australian rules football. I even played some cricket, some football or soccer. My dad, used to play pool, like snooker. He was a darts player as well. So I grew up on a farm, and I was around motorbikes and outdoors and BMX and skateboarding. And I was always someone that just had to be active. I think that was probably how I knew that basketball was a sport for me, because I enjoyed it. My friends played it. And at the time when I was young, like I'm a 92 baby, so I'm not a spring chicken anymore. But we didn't have like internet. There was nothing at the time. The most I ever got was like a hand-me-down Slam magazine. And that was the way I kind of saw it, and I saw these NBA players. And then once the internet came, that's when, you dial up internet, you wait for mum and dad to get off the phone so you can plug it into the box, which no one understands that struggle anymore. But I love basketball because I feel like I could be a little freer and have a bit more of my personality. Especially when I was young, I just liked to run up and down. And, there was one of my best friends, Michael, and I were built the same. We were both probably in our teenage years, 6 feet, very athletic. We could start to dunk, and we would always be in the backyard, low ring. We'd lower it down, and we'd be doing all these dunks. And although I played a lot of different sports, basketball was one where I felt like I could really give it my flair and my personality. And when the internet came along, it was like, Allen Iverson crossover mixtape and Kobe Bryant dunk mix and LimeWire. You were downloading things like that, and that's where my love for the game started to come. And my dad played just locally in my little hometown of Horsham, and there's only 20,000 people there, but he played in literally on a racetrack, like a horse racing track. There was a little barn, and in there was a court, and that's where they were playing. And we had the association, the local basketball association. But my dad was a very good shooter, and he had this black and white photo in our house. It was a little bit bigger, and that photo, he's in tiny shorts and a little singlet, and I have the photo on my phone. I'll show you guys. And he's shooting this fadeaway jump shot, and I'm like, man, that's so cool. And I'm like, that's my dad. How good's that? And my dad didn't get to pursue his dream of playing basketball. Back then he was a builder, and he just finished his trade and his apprenticeship, and he was offered a position pretty much full time to be, in construction and building. And at the time, he had been asked to go on a little bit of a come and play against, a touring basketball squad that was coming to town. And he had to choose, work over, the hobby, the basketball. And, that was, Dad had to close the door on that. So I think a part of me always wanted to maybe try and get better. And I didn't think I was ever going to be a pro. I really didn't. I really thought I was just going to play basketball locally, and then I wanted to be a mechanic. I wanted to build custom cars, and that was what my real passion was. And it wasn't until I got older where I realized that, I'm getting better at this.
It's still a passion.
It's definitely still a passion, yeah.
Maybe,
so
maybe after retirement, who knows?
Yeah, I definitely would like to, because I love so much outside of the sport, because I'm not a basketballer. It's something that I do. And I don't identify as a pro athlete. I'm just a person who does something for work. Now, this work is a little more special and flashy for some people, but I'm just a dude, man. I like loud cars and, having a beer with my mates. Yeah, like the smell of petrol is like a nice thing when you're in, basketball for me, I started very young. My teenage years, I definitely wasn't very good. I got better as I got into my mid-teenage years, 13, 14, 15, and then 15, 16 was when I started to really show that I was getting better as a basketball player.
We were talking about this before the podcast, and to us it seems like you're like a wine. You're getting better with age.
Yeah.
So you're like looking at the stats and stuff, and yeah.
I think you get smarter as you get older, and I think everybody talks about this, and I really implore everyone who listens to this, the mind and your basketball IQ is the most important skill set you can train. Not your skills, just your skills, like your shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, that's a set of skills physically. But the rest of it comes from your mindset, and it comes from what you know. It comes from situations and watching it and studying it. And just like anything, you can't be good at anything without studying something. And once I learned that, and your physical is here when you're young and your mental is here, but you have to really work on this to get it up higher. And once your mental gets above your skill set, that's when the fine wine, comment might come in. But now I feel like I understand my body, my mind, my spirit, balance of life so much better. So now I can play free, and that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, we actually thought about a quick question. What do you choose between basketball, like your basketball talent / skills? But you already answered the question, so it's about mentality.
I think so.
Most
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
But at
for
the
sure.
same time, it seems like basketball IQ. I think it's the hardest one to train, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the hardest one because it's probably the one that people look at with a bit of a stigma. I think if you say I'm seeing a psychologist, some people that are not as educated will be like, he's got a problem, something's wrong with him, he's crazy, but he has something he needs to work on because something's not right. But it's actually the opposite. It's me being aware enough as a man and a human being, because I think everyone could do with a little bit more, let's talk about things. But I do believe that the more I actually look at myself and say, hey, I think I got a good understanding of myself, the less I actually understand. When I actually sit with, the people I work with, the professionals I work with, and I've had 4 or 5 different sports psychologists over my career, and I've spoken to clinical psychologists as well, from a life perspective. And everyone has taught me different things. And those things that I've taught, and I actually had this conversation yesterday with somebody, and it was like, the moment I actually got out of my own way and said to myself and accepted, I actually don't know everything, and I'm not that good, and I have to surrender to that and let my ego just go. That's when I really started to play better, make better plays, consistently was feeling happier playing the game, because this is a very tough schedule. It's a very hard life for a lot of reasons, just like everyone has a hard life. I said before, you guys have to podcast. If you had to do this full time, this is a hard job. You still have lives, you still have family, you have responsibilities. But for me, I had to get out of my own way before I actually started to progress with my career the way I probably wanted to early on. So I think the mindset is probably the most important thing for me. You do have to do the skill-based physical attributes. Like, it's just like 2K. You got to go and earn the V-Bucks, and you got to, build it slowly, and it takes time. But once you do that, then it's all about like decision making, because you can be 99 on everything in 2K, but you can still get your ass handed to you by some kid who's on 60 because he knows how to play the game. And that's, I think, a really good comparison for the young generation and any professional athlete. We're all just 2K characters with unlimited V-Bucks. Once we get there, it's then about how do you play the game? Do you understand time and score, good shot, bad shot? What are they doing? Do they have tendencies or traits? And then, okay, now we're playing the game. This is basketball. Yeah, and I think that's something that like fans maybe don't really understand. They get to watch it and you think, oh, like, man, why didn't he make that shot? Or he missed a layup. Like, God, I could make that. And they're sitting on the couch at home eating the honey cookie like, oh, I could do that too, man. Like, you suck. And if you go on the court, you won't even touch the ball.
Oh, no, for sure.
And even the best of the best struggle and miss. And if you're a great three-point shooter, you shoot 40%. 4 out of 10 you make, which means 60% of the time you're going to miss. Yeah. Now that at pressure, best. Yeah, at best. Now, in saying that, if I told you you're going to do something in your career, I'm going to pay you to do it, but for 60 to 70% of the time, you're going to fail. And you're going to lose maybe 50% of the games you play in. How many people would be like, I want to do that. That sounds like a great idea. It's a tough pill to swallow. And I'm very fortunate that I'm in a position where I'm playing at a high enough level where I'm going to play consistent minutes. The guys that don't get that, it's very hard even then more, because you don't get the time to get on court. You don't get the opportunity to get a basket or to put your skills that you've worked on so much on display for the fans and your family and your loved ones, because they're the ones that support you. And I want to just put on a show for people. I want people to know that the smiley guy who's, happy to be everywhere and meet people is the same person who is ruthlessly going to fight tooth and nail and punch them in the mouth as many times as possible to win. And if we don't win, I think you can at least respect the fact that, he's gone about it the right way. And that's the legacy that I want to leave, is like, he just played the game the right way. And he was a good man. That's it.
I wanted to say that in Europe, I guess it's not all about the winning from the supporter sides. But if you are trying and you are fighting, it's fine for us. Yeah. You don't have to win every game. Yeah. I know that you can't win every game.
Yeah.
It's normal. But I want to, from my perspective, I want to show me that you try to fight against, put some soul into the game. I like this. I love this.
Yeah. You've seen also like the reactions you have on home court, when even though we're down, like the team is down by a few points or something like that, you see the crowd's reaction when a guy like jumps up for a ball that's being challenged or almost missed, or like the guys jumping for screens, rebounding, or every kind of effort that's really appreciated by the crowd, and you can see it in the energy and the support they bring. I hope.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the big part too. Playing is like, there's the 5 of us on court, and then we have Silver, whose voice you can tune into and hear. Now sometimes we tune Silver out. I respectfully say that sometimes you tune him out because you've made some simple errors, or you didn't do the play, and I already know what he's saying, and I know, but you acknowledge it and you move to the next play, because we understand that if we get stuck on the moment, the next moment's already come and passed, and we've missed that completely. So we have to be able enough to understand, okay, the crowd's into it, we've got to keep going. We have to make simple, smart basketball plays on both ends, offense and defense. And then when we get the opportunity to, enjoy it with the crowd, you got to enjoy it, because the crowd's going crazy, the chants are going, and that's the next person on court. And at home, we have a great fan base and we have a great community of passionate basketball followers, and they ride every possession. You see the photos, you see the pyrotechnics, and you see the banners, and everyone's involved. Doesn't matter if there's 3,000, 8,000, or 10,000. It's loud. And that's, as a player, like I could be digging holes and clearing black ice off the roads for a job. And you got to remember that, man, like this shit's cool. Like win, lose or draw, I try and have that moment in the game where I look around. And I think for me, the last game, like I was frustrated because I felt like it was a very physical game where 99 times out of 100, we're getting some of those calls. We're getting the momentum to stop because we get a really smart basketball play. And we weren't rewarded any of those, I don't think. And even though the game went back and forward, I can point at a bunch of different things, but I can be frustrated about that, but I can't get taken away from the game from that. And I think for me, I had to put my hand up and reflect because I got taken out of the game a little bit mentally because I was frustrated that, our bigs weren't getting calls. Our guards were getting hand checked. I was getting fouled and we weren't getting the possessions to kill the momentum, go up another 2 points, and then go back on a set defense and then maybe put more pressure on them. And that mounts. But you got to then understand, oh shit, when's the last time I actually was like, man, this is cool. I'm in Ljubljana, no idea where it is on a map. Oh, we're in Dubai. Like, look at this shit. Like, this is awesome. Like,
I mean, before coming here, you know where Cluj-Napoca is on the map.
Nope. I could. My geography is shithouse. If you had said where is Romania on the map, I couldn't have told you. But you could have said any European city, and I probably couldn't have pointed it out because I've been playing in other countries, in other continents. So I'm not as privy to it, and I haven't played in Europe much. I played in Germany for the end of a season, but other than that, I need to do some more practice.
Yeah, so we know you played in Australia. You played for a bit. You played. Most of it.
Mm-hmm.
You played in the NBA for a bit. Also Canada.
Yeah.
And in Europe, I think for Göttingen.
Yes.
How?
In some hot place named Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ay.
But the best thing about basketball is the fact that you can be in so many different places. Like the last 2 years, I went Australia, Puerto Rico, Canada, Australia, Turkey, Canada, Europe. Like that. Romania. Sorry. So
most people don't even get to travel that much. Not in the lifespan.
Yeah, but in saying that, in the last 2 years, I've been home for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was in one lump of time. I went back previously for a very short period of time, but I got to see my family for like 4 days. I got to see my dad, and then maybe 3 or 4 days my mum, and that's it. Like I haven't spent time with my 2 sisters. I haven't spent time with mum and dad. I haven't spent time with my friends. I've got the cool thing is like you get to acquire certain things as you go along this journey of life. And some of those you want to acquire. People want to acquire money. They want to acquire love or happiness or a car or a business, whatever it is you want to try and acquire. And there's things that when you play at a high enough level, you get to acquire things. But me, I'm at the point where I want relationships. That's what means the most to me. I want to spend time with my daughter. I want to be in a loving, committed relationship, and I want a family. And basketball puts a lot of pressure on that. And like I'm traveling the world, and how are you meant to build and maintain something that doesn't take away from someone else's life? And the last 2 years, I had pretty much had all of that, and up until recently, my situation changed, and you're back in this world of like crazy opportunities, but you don't want to go out and distract yourself with all these things because I want to focus on my family, my daughter, and my job and my businesses because they're the things that are going to give me time, if it gives me financial freedom, and then that's the 2 things that you need. You need to make money, and you need to find more time while still making that money. Otherwise, I don't get to have those. And I've just spent 15 years doing this. I've missed 15 years of my dad's life.
That's a lot.
It's hard when
you will win some, lose some situation.
Yeah. And you miss birthdays, you miss,
Yeah.
weddings, and you miss um, special occasions, and you're just not there for a lot of it because you're trying to pursue your dreams and you're trying to set yourself up for the future. So it's a good thing to try and balance, but it comes with its pros and its cons. You got to give some to give up some.
Yeah, I mean that's the nature of this profession, right? But I was curious, actually, because you mentioned the family. I was curious to see what was your reaction when U reached out to you and proposed this collaboration, and what was the reaction of your family? What did they say?
Um, I finished in Turkey and I went to Canada and played there, and I was looking at where to play next, and I had kind of said there was one thing on my bucket list that I haven't done yet in my career, and that was to play EuroLeague. And I understand that Europe has this stigma as well, in a way, where you would say if you haven't proven yourself in Europe at a pretty high level, you're not going to play EuroLeague unless you're already in the NBA. That's kind of, if you've got really good NBA experience, you're normally going to maybe slide into one of those roles. And I've seen that time and time again. I've played against some phenomenal players in Puerto Rico, you spoke about before, China, like everywhere. And, even recently, like Kenneth Farid signed in EuroLeague. Yeah, and Kenneth and I played against each other for a couple times over the last
Maybe
couple
put a good word for him.
Yeah, and I've had very good matchups against him. I've had very good battles against him, and in every league that we've both played in at the same time, I would have a strong argument that I've been probably one of the top 5 players in every league every year for the last 8 to 10 years. And whether it's winning or statistically, however you look at it, all-star teams, awards, like it doesn't matter what it is. I don't play for awards, but it's nice to be recognized every now and then that, hey, your hard work actually showcases this. Now, I don't give a shit about it. Like I got an MVP and I got a watch. I gave the watch to my dad. And I was like, hey, Dad, here's a watch, because I'm not going to I don't need a watch. But you get an all-star first team, or you get a club MVP or a league MVP, and you're like, okay, it's cool. But did we win? And that's the question that I always want to ask, is like, do we win? And it's like, if we win and we do it the right way, we give ourselves a chance. If we just do it the right way, like I always look at basketball as the 3 E's. I got taught this, and energy, effort, enthusiasm. And that's a principle that is really easy to live by. It requires no physical skill. It's a mental skill. And you go and play all these places, you want to go and win, but then you compare yourself to other guys and you're like, man, like, I know I can help a EuroLeague team. So when Cluj reached out, there were other teams that I'd spoken to, but I said, okay, I've got a head coach who was a 4-man. He played my position. The conversations we had allowed me to believe that he wanted someone that's tough and that's capable and that can perform consistently. And I knew I was going to have a good sized role here, because he's like, I want to bring you in. You're my 4-man. We got a good team around us, and this is our first year in Arbor League. And I knew you played Eurocup, so I look at the league and everything, and I was like, okay, we get to play Dubai, we get to play Partizan, hopefully we advance, and we get to play Red Star, we get to play all these. And you're like, oh, here we go. Like, we play some big teams, even in Eurocup, Artis, and baschet, like everywhere. Like, you look at it and you say, does this fit well? And for me, if I want to play against the biggest names, this Arbor League is where I wanted to be, because I knew EuroLeague probably wasn't going to be on the cards for the first year. And I think that was probably, from my point of view, I could have done a better job last year. I went to Turkey because I had a China deal for the season, and it fell through last minute. We had some bad dealings and some dodgy stuff went on with, not my agent, with a third party. And I got to play in China for nearly 5 months with, we made the grand final. Unfortunately, we got swept 4-0. That was good. But you start to get a taste for it. And I was like, cool, let's go back, sign there. That's a very big, financial gain. So I'm like, I can set myself up with this kind of money. And then it fell apart last minute. And then I looked, and Europe's 5-6 weeks into their seasons. So all the teams have just signed all their players. So all the big teams aren't going to make any moves for 2-3 months.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to spend 2 or 3 months sitting around doing nothing. So I chose a situation that rewarded me enough financially, but also put me in a position to be maybe in Europe. And I could have gone to the TBL, the Turkish Basketball League, the first division.
Yes.
There were some teams there, but once again, you haven't played in Europe, you got to prove yourself to us. And I was like, I got a pretty good resume, I would like to think, and I chose to go to a Division 2 team. Now, we ended up winning. We won the championship. We advanced to the first division. And
Congrats, by the way.
thank you. And very awesome, like very cool, had a great time. But I was probably a little narrow-sighted. I probably should have gone to the first division, and I think that would have given me a much better opportunity to maybe play EuroLeague this year if I had played well. But I chose otherwise, and I went the option that kind of respected my, I guess, path here a bit more. And when you're talking about certain things of what you want in a contract, you want to play, you want a good environment, and you want to be respected with what you are going to get paid. And sometimes people don't understand that there's sometimes 5, 6, 7 times the amount difference. And that's like saying you can work for 1 year or you can work for 5 years. Which would you pick? Sometimes you pick, I can earn a fifth of it and maybe get to it next year. But if I don't, and I don't have a good coach, or I don't like the environment, maybe you're in a bad position and you're in a worse position and you just don't know. So I took some guarantees, and then I played, and then I was like, okay, Cluj sounds pretty good. I like it. I think I am happy here. The coach was very, had a national team head coach, had played a long career as well in Romania, and the team had been winning. They'd won Romania Cup for 5 years in a row, I believe. They're now first year ABA League, and I was like, okay, here we go. Like, this could be fruity. Let's see what happens. I look up Cluj-Napoca, and I'm like, oh shit, where's that? And I was like, it looks pretty nice. There's a big river right near where I would live. There's like mountains and lakes, and I'm thinking, cool, like this sounds really good. And the team, sounded very professional. I liked what they were building. The fans, I went and had a look. It was very passionate. And I made my decision. I told my family, and I was in Canada at the time, and I thought I was going to come home for a couple of weeks. I finished the season there, and they had said to me, like, we were in the finals and the playoffs, and we had our semi-final game. And if we won, we were going to play the grand final the week later. And Europe, everyone's like, hey, you have to be here at this date. That's it, no exceptions. And I was like, man, I hope we lose this game. No, I didn't. We if you haven't seen that last game in Canada, we definitely some suspicious refereeing rules were acquired at the end of the game, and we had 6 free throws to win the game, and I got fouled on 2 of those occasions, and the refs overturned all of those fouls by review. And then it was just a very bad spectacle of how it transpired, and it was somewhat interesting, to say the least. And I had some very choice words to say afterwards. But I was like, okay, like I'm pretty pissed off, I'm pretty frustrated. I just want to go home. I just wanted to go back home. And they're like, hey, you got to get on a plane in 2 days and come to Romania. And I was like, damn, so I'm not going to go home. So I told my friends and family, hey, I'm actually not coming home. Even for a week would have been great. But I was like, okay, you guys are building something special. Let's get in. Let's get to work. I came in, met the team, met the staff, started to meet the city and, everything about it. And my family were like, wow, this is actually seems like a very nice place. Everyone seems very lovely. Like the community feels really good. So I feel like I made a good decision in that. I like it here. I've made some very good friends outside of basketball. In my other hobbies, I tend to meet a lot of people, and you create friendships. And it's the best thing, and it's also the hardest thing about this, because you make great friends, and then you sometimes have to leave. And then maybe you don't ever actually get to spend time with them again. So yeah, I like to think that you can make some very close friends and networks, and then maybe they're like, hey, like we thought we might come to Australia, and you're like, come on, like let's go, we can do that. So yeah, it's definitely good.
You spoke about your family. Your family has visited you in Romania?
No, not yet.
Okay.
My daughter will come at some point, hopefully pretty soon. We had a window coming up, we were going to have some time, and my mum and dad and sister maybe were going to come, and then my daughter was going to come in as well for probably a month maybe, but the window of time has kind of changed. I can't say why just yet, but it kind of closed up. So I'm like, okay, like I got to pivot and have a look. So they'll come and they'll visit. Hopefully it's not too cold. It's 35 to 45 degrees Celsius in Australia right now, where they're all living, and you know, some of them are on the beach. There's been, it's very nice back home at the moment. But yeah, I'm excited to have them here. It's always nice to show them new parts of the world. But I think they'll come to some games, and you know, they're my biggest supporters, and you know, I wouldn't be here without them. So you'll see mum and dad. Mum and dad are always commenting on all the posts. So shout out mum and dad.
They're so wholesome, I swear to God.
Yeah.
The whole family is so wholesome. How is like you mentioned, it's hard, you know, basically working as a professional basketball player, right? And how did this not, let's say, affect, but how is your relationship with me? How has it been being a father, you know? In this context.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's definitely something that, sorry. It's hard. That's okay. No, it's okay. It's some days it's easier to deal with and accept being away, but it's a part of, and I got no issue being emotional. It's okay. I got two shirts. It's okay. I miss my family very much, and I don't think I ever understood what they go through as a parent until you're a parent. And thanks, mate. And I think that's one of the things, like, I've always been a big advocate for, you know, mental health. I've always been a big advocate for being open about things, and it doesn't bother me to be upset about missing my daughter or my family or whatever. So, you know, I miss her every day. I know my family miss me every day, and it's a part of it. Like, you have to accept it. I'm not the only one in this situation, you know, and I know there's other people all across the world that don't get the time that they want, and I'm setting things up for her. Everything that I have in my life, every investment that I've made off court, it has my family attached to it. Every company I have, every business I have, my family directly are being benefited by that. I have got stuff organized and aligned for that. My daughter is a part of it. She's 19 months old, but she has, you know, a property and a business, and she's going to be okay when she gets older. But I think that's the part of, like, being human. Like, this may seem like a very glorified job for a lot of people, and a lot of people want it, but it's hard. Like, it comes with sacrifices. I don't get to see it. You know, my daughter wasn't something that I had planned. It was a short interaction with someone who, you know, we you know, the decision was made to have Mia, and I was like, okay. At first, it was really hard, honestly, to accept it, because I want a big family. Like, I want a wife, and I want fucking 17 kids, and I want the Creek legacy.
You want a full-on basketball
I want the Creek legacy, you know. Like, I honestly, I'd like a couple kids, and I want the big space and the countryside and beach access. Like, I want those things, and I want that for my family. And I always was like, man, how can I have that? Like, and you know, the mum is from Puerto Rico. I'm from Australia. I play all across the world, and until I retire, I'm not going to get that real time. And even then, it's still very hard to fly across the world and meet. And it's something that you have to work together to figure out. Like, it's hard to co-parent, especially when you're not, you know, there was never a relationship that was just, okay, it's two people we met, things happened, you know, 1 + 1 is 2, and now I have Mia, and she's the most incredible, you know, young woman in this world, and she's so loved by both of her parents. we make it work as best as we can. Like, we're both very respectful. We're both on great terms, and it's not comfortable being away. It's the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And I now understand what it's like to be my mum and my dad. And it's probably harder to be them because I do so much fucking stupid shit. I jump out of planes and I race stuff, and I'm constantly doing things, and my family worry about me because they don't get to see me. They don't get to, spend every day with me, and I know what that feels like. So it's extremely hard, but I think what motivates me is showing up every day. People say, like, just show up for yourself because you of all people deserve the most respect. And that starts with yourself. Like, if I give myself self-respect, I'm halfway there. And after that, if you want to disrespect me or you want to treat me like shit, that's on you, man. Like, I don't have to be affected by that. My response to that is the other half, in my opinion. So I think that it's a challenge to give yourself that love and that self-respect. For a lot of people, I think they're very hard. I think a lot of people are very hard on themselves. I'm extremely hard on myself, but I give myself grace and I give myself that space to be okay, because I go to training every day and I show up for myself, because if I don't show up for myself, no one else is going to provide my daughter with the life I want to give her. Her mum will definitely, absolutely, for sure. She's a fantastic mum. But the part of what I'm saying is, like, I have to show up for me, because if I don't show up for me, then the outcome isn't going to benefit my daughter. It's not going to benefit, my ability to retire earlier and not have to work a 9 to 5. I can have other businesses that just flow in the background, and I can go and spend time with her. I can go and see my mates and my mum and dad. And that's why I work so hard, and that's why I do other hobbies, so I stay fit and healthy, strong, sharp, mentally clear. Then I can go and enjoy basketball, and that's where I'm getting the most of my fruit in my world. That's where I water that garden the most. So I have to make sure that's my number one priority, because at the end of the day, when I retire, I want my daughter to be completely taken care of. She doesn't have to worry about anything. She's gonna earn it. She's gonna be a badass, and she'll do jiu-jitsu. She'll choke the dude out if he backhands her the wrong way.
She had the Creek DNA, so
she's already like crazy, and it's one of the first things I actually said. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I'd been doing different combat, like boxing and jiu-jitsu, and I like that kind of stuff. I really do. And I boxed for a long time. Some of my best friends are professional boxers, and I'm no Floyd Mayweather at all. I'm half a feather, not Mayweather. And I really like it. In Turkey, I boxed 4 or 5 days a week, and I sparred once a week, 6 3-minute rounds with anyone who wanted to spar. Like, I would be like, hey, let's go. Put the headgear on, mouth guard in, and we'd fight once a week, all year. And then I finished that, and I got into jiu-jitsu because I couldn't find it in Canada. But I fell in love with it because I was like, I'm a pretty solid dude, and I can hold my own, and I know how to box at a pretty good level. So I back myself. If anything was to ever happen, I'm capable. That's the word that I like, capable. But then I went to a jiu-jitsu class, and I had this little Chinese dude who absolutely mauled me. I was on the ground like a pancake. I couldn't move, and he's choking me and bending me, and I'm like, this is the most humiliating feeling I've ever felt. And I immediately was like, I don't know if I ever want to come back or if I want to come back every day. It's one of the two.
You took him for granted. So you see him, that's, he's like a small guy. Okay, how can he beat me?
He was half my size. He's probably 70 kilos, and he beat the absolute shit out of me. And everyone for the first 2 months killed me. Yeah. And then I got better and better and better, and I started watching it and studying it and practicing it. Did one-on-ones and extra classes, and then all of a sudden I was like, it ticked one day, and I started submitting people and controlling people, and then they were the pancake, and I was like, okay. And I remember that call, and I said to her mum, I was like, one of the first things that is non-negotiable is Mia has to do some kind of combat sport. There's one of the things I always said. And then I said, like, boxing is one, but then I did jiu-jitsu, and I was like, she has to do jiu-jitsu. When she gets to 4 or 5, we're going to put her in some classes. We're going to in the background, just put on some female jiu-jitsu rolling on the TV, so she starts to see. I'm going to program it a little bit, because it is literally, I've seen so many young girls go to these classes, and respectfully so to any of the boys out there that get offended by this is the truth. Boys have more of an ego than girls when it comes to things, and boys fart ass and dick around and whatever, and girls fundamentally are a lot more focused and attentive, and they pick it up really fast, and the girls destroy the boys at that age. And if I know that if I can't be there to protect my daughter, she needs to be able to protect herself. And I'm going to be a role model in saying, Dad's going to go and do it, and he's going to get choked out by little Chinese men, so you got to make sure you can kick his ass, because if anything, God forbid, ever happened, I would be very remiss to be very hard on myself for the rest of my life, because I wasn't physically there. So I think that's the importance of me and why I do what I do, why I approach the game, why I do these other things, because I want to be capable. Because when she's with me, no one can get near her or lay a finger on her or to anyone in my life, because I know that I can protect her. And that's what I want to be able to do, because there's a lot of scary people in this world, and there's a lot of bad shit that happens out of the blue. And I just want to be like, I'm not trying to be a crazy dad. I just want to be like the quiet dad that's like, hey, we're good. We don't want any trouble. Like, we're okay. And we just keep backing away, keep moving, keep leaving, never engage. But if someone engages, you're like, oh, well, buddy, sorry, mate, you're in trouble, brother. You're in trouble. So, yeah.
Now in Cluj, you practice jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, so there's Napoca Jiu-Jitsu. Roland is a very good friend of mine actually now. We've become very, very close, and I go there as often as I can. I don't do a class 2 days before a game, but if I can be there 3 or 4 days before, like I went the last 2 days, I'll go there. I'll be there as much as I can, and some days I go and I think I'm going to take it easy, and then I don't take it easy. Everyone's trying to kill you, and you get competitive, but I love it. It helps me relax, of all things, because you have to leave your ego at the door. And where I was taught at Gracie Barra in Canada, there was a lot of respect shown. You walk in, you bow, you have your shoes, your slides are there, you have to like bow, you kneel and you face away to put your gi on, you tie it not facing everyone, you always present proper, everyone's very thoughtful, respectful, and there's no dickheads, there's no, like, if you're that person, you're not gonna lie, they just get out, like, see ya, don't come back. And it's a very respectful practice, and for me it's just like I go in there and I'm just so at peace, and I'm just relaxed. And there's not a lot of times in my life where I get to feel complete quiet in my head, because I think as a man, we all have like this voice that just constantly goes. This shuts it off. And for me, that makes me feel kind of at home in a way.
For me, it's basketball, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like whenever I'm playing, it's the same feeling. I don't care about what's going on. I just like to play basketball. I like to do assists, like crazy assists or stuff like that.
Are you the white chocolate of Romania?
I would like to be, but never.
I always try and do that behind the back.
Job, I guess.
Yeah.
But you found something though that works for you, and that's like I just want to inspire people to find the things that work for them.
Yeah.
I talked to you about the nicotine patches, and like I try things for 2 to 3 months at a time, and I see if it works for me. And the studies showed that 10 milligrams a day is extremely good for all these different health benefits. So I was like, okay, I don't know if this paper's bullshit or if it's real, because the internet's pretty hard to decide. So let me try. I sleep with the nasal strips to see if they work. I don't try 3 things at once. I try 1 thing at once. And then I make my own determination. And it's the same thing. You just want to find things that work for you. I like jiu-jitsu because it helps me calm. Even when I've got some guy as a backpack choking me out and I'm fighting for my life, trying to get a finger in, I'm like, afterwards I tap out or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, okay. That's how he did it. He got there that way. And then the next time we do it, it's a puzzle and I have to solve it. It's a game of chess. and I'm shit at chess. And Miletic and Guzman will tell you that I'm bad at chess. They're really good at chess. They play all the time.
Also, Guz played the chess as well.
Guz and Mile play a lot of chess. Mile just tries to pick on me and get his confidence up because I don't know chess. He's doing these strategies and shit. I'm just, this is the dark horse of the knight strategy of the 1912. I'm like, shut up, man. Just move the horse.
I actually asked you one time who's winning at chess, and you said to me that not me.
Not me. I'm honest about it. I'm no good at chess. I think I've played in my life 10 games. So, and I think 5 of them have been against Mille. So, I'm not anytime going to win soon.
Bro, you have to play chess with me. No, man, thank you. No, you have to play chess.
Yeah.
You don't have other
It's
options.
good for his confidence. I try and be a good teammate. I just let you beat me because then you feel good. Then maybe you beat Guz because I think Guz has been beating Mille. So yeah.
Right. You touch on so many subjects. It's like such a nice conversation. I don't know which direction to go, but you were talking about businesses and getting involved in communities. Like how does that make you feel? What lessons did you take getting involved with communities around?
Like we saw you went to some kids from UBT Academy.
Mm-hmm.
To some games, and that's actually really nice. We never saw a player from UBT doing that, or maybe it's not posted on social media, I guess.
They did.
But
Yeah.
we thought this is really nice.
I think there's a part of me that I understand that, like where I came from, I wasn't meant to be like successful. I was probably meant to be a tradesman, or like I said, I dropped out of school in my sophomore year of high school. I dropped out of school and I went and did mechanical engineering. I did we call it TAFE study. It's like a out of school kind of mini university study before university. And I did a year of that, and I had to actually go back to school because I got invited to go to it's called the Australian Institute of Sport. It's like for future Australian athletes. You go to Canberra, which is the capital, and you go there, and it's essentially like a live-in dormitory kind of style uni, but it's just for all sports. Like every Olympic sport essentially is there, and there's 300 guys, 300 girls from every discipline. So when I got accepted to go there, they're like, well, the school and the education is the most important thing for us, then the sport, because we want our athletes to have the ability to go to American college, or to not just be a dumb archer or a stupid basketballer, like the whole shut up and dribble. Like a lot of these people are successful businessmen and businesswomen, and sometimes that's brands, and I just didn't know that I really had to go to school. I was like, I want to be a mechanic. I want to build custom cars. Like that's what I wanted to do. I had a huge passion for it. So when I actually dropped out, I got the scholarship. I then had to go back to school, but I had to catch up for pretty much the 10 months that I had missed of school. I had to go back and catch up from that, which was a lot of work, but I got it done. Once I finished, I started playing professionally, and I was 18 or 17, turning 18 when I signed, and then I had 8 years in Adelaide, and by the time the 8 years had finished, you would think, from 18 to 25, you would kind of feel like you've got some kind of understanding of how the world goes round. And I probably didn't realize how much I didn't know until I met, I went from the last player on the roster when I signed in Adelaide to the first 3 years there. I just didn't play much, 10, 15 minutes if I was lucky. Sometimes a little bit more, but sometimes less. Then years 4 and 5, I almost changed sports. I wasn't enjoying it. My first year of having a new coach was Joey Wright. I had Marty Clark, who was the head coach at the Australian Institute of Sport. He then left there and went to Adelaide as the head coach. And his first year there, he had a player do his ACL. And then he called me and he said, hey, instead of going to college, you want to come play professionally? We'll give you a 3-year deal. So I was like, hell yeah. But I got my first paycheck, and I can talk about this now because it was like $30,000. That's like Australian dollars. So that was, I don't even know what euros that is. This might be like 18,000 euros for the year. And I was like, balling. And it was like, woo, shit. And I got my first paycheck. And I made a very big mistake thinking that I knew anything about the world. And then, you buy a couch. And you're like, okay, I buy a $200 couch or a $500 couch. And I was like, in hindsight, I should have paid nothing. And I should have gone on Facebook. And I should have got a free couch. Or something, like I shouldn't have been. Beggars can't be choosers, and I just should have put my ego aside. But I was young and dumb, and I got my first paycheck. I'm a pro athlete now. I felt entitled, and I realized that money goes very quick. And I had rent and bills, and I had insurances, and I had all these things that I had to pay for.
Taxes. Didn't
know about that. So my first 3 years, I was like not making much more than like, it was like 30,000, I think 40,000 and 60,000. So it wasn't a lot of money. Like as a pro athlete, 3 years in, I was like, okay, how do people like save for a house? Cause you get taught like, you want a house, the white picket fence, like that's kind of the American dream, they call it. We wanted the same thing. So I was like, okay, well, let's have a look. And I was like, if I make $60,000, let's say I make 100,000. I'm like, that's a pretty good wage. I'd be really happy with that because in your head, you're like, you make 100,000 Australian dollars, you're in the upper class. I was like, okay, so then what do I do? Now it took me a while to get to that point, but I remember thinking, okay, if I have to pay 10% to my agent, so I got 90,000 left, and I got to pay 27% taxes. Okay, I have 63,000 left. Fuck, that went pretty quick. And then I'm like, my rent for the year is 15,000. Okay, I have 47,000 left, and I'm like, oh. Okay, 47,000. I got groceries. It's probably about $1,500 a month. So 12 months, and I'm like, I started doing the numbers, and I was like, if I make 100 grand, and I'm making half of that, so off my ideal salary, I can only keep X amount of dollars. And I looked at it, and if I just took my, registration for my car, insurance, health insurance, my rent, and maybe spending like $100 a week on, you go and have a meal or you go to the movies. That was my leftover. I had like 15 grand. And I was like, damn, that's off like my ideal salary. Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing. And then I realized, well, if I want a house deposit, and a house is, let's say, in Australia for a 2-bedroom house, you're going to pay 500,000 in a average area. So that's a lot of money. And I'm like, I have to put down 20%. I was like, wow, that's like 8 years of me saving perfectly.
Yeah, every fucking month.
And what happens when my car broke down and my transmission shit itself and I had to pay $12,000 that year for my car that I bought? And I was like, well, I got to sell the car. I have to get another one. So I had a nice-ish car and I had to sell it and get a shitty car because I couldn't afford it. And I had to learn all these lessons. And then I was like, why does this guy have a really nice car? Why does this guy have a nice four-wheel drive? Or why does he have a Porsche? And I started to ask questions. And once I realized that I had no idea what my money did, I learned, okay, I have to understand tax. I have to understand how to save money on tax because Australia has 47, I think, different ways to pay taxes. There's like 47 different criteria in order to pay tax. So we have like income tax, employee tax, life tax. You've got death tax. If you die, you have to pay a tax on your assets. It's like, this is fucking ridiculous.
But you're dead already.
I was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. If I have $1 million, I have to pay a death tax. So, I sell my house. I have to pay 50% of the profits from the money I made on my house back to the government. If I sell it for $500,000 and I made 200,000, I have to pay 100 back. So I started to learn this, but this was after that 8-year period. By then, I'd signed in the NBA. I was at Exhibit 10. I didn't sign a full contract. I played on a very, very small wage in the G League at the time. I think it was like 30,000 US for the season to play in the G League, which is not a lot. And I just finished in Gottingen. I played pretty well. I'd signed with Wurzburg, and that was actually probably my first really good deal. Instead of making 30,000 a month, you made 30,000 for a year. And I was like, but my dream was to play in the NBA. So I was like, why are all these people so, like, why do you have a house? And I'm like, why does this electrician, who was a regular person, in my opinion, my ego told me he's a regular person, I'm a special person, and that was me being young and stupid. Then my brain was like, I have to figure this shit out. So over that next 3 years, I sat down with a bunch of people who I had networked with, but I never asked man questions. I asked boy questions. And instead of like, hey, let's go have some beers and have some fun, I was like, hey, like, how did you start? Like, where did you start your company? What did that look like? How do you become success? Like, what did you do? You know, what advice would you give to me starting out? What questions do I need to ask? Get an accountant. Here's one. I said, okay, I'm hit her up. Hey, can we get a coffee? I'd love to sit down and talk to you. So I bought her lunch, and then I bought her a coffee, and I'm like, you want a juice? And I was getting all this information out of it. And I have these 3 little like notepad pieces of paper. I still have them to this day because she told me what a trust, a company, individual entities, like how to protect your assets, how to do this, how to invest. And then I was like, oh shit, here we go. Then it started. And then I got my first property because I had to save for 18 months after that the right way. And I already had ways to do it, but I was like, I got to be smarter. So I had side hustles. I was a pro athlete, playing, training, traveling in Australia. I was a personal trainer as well. So I was doing 30 to 40 hours of PTs a week. And that money from my PTs, I saved in 18 months for a house deposit. So I worked my 40, 50 hours a week playing basketball, training, extra sessions, and I was doing another 30 to 40 hours a week of PT. And then I was like, oh, I've got a bit of a brand. Started selling t-shirts. I used that money to then reinvest into more stock and then more items. And then it was like, okay, well, how do I do it on a larger scale? Then it was like, my brain by then was snowballing out of control. And there was an avalanche of like, I need to be the dumbest person in the smartest room every chance I get. That is where it shifted for me. But I was 26, 27 years old when it switched. And it took me 2 to 3 years before I acquired my first property, my first business venture, and then my first solo business venture. So I was 28, 29 when I really was like, I have to have enough balls now to put my money into something that I think could work with the advice from people who are smarter than me. And I have to trust that relationship. So now I'm very fortunate that I've got other businesses and we have some great venues, food venues, it's like a night venue as well. We have a cafe we've decided to gift to somebody. We've built a cafe and a space and we're trying to give someone a head start.
Yeah, we saw it on social media. It was really nice.
Yeah, there's other things I'm doing outside of those with property, and then I've got Wolfpack Hoops, which is my own basketball program, which we're building an app for, which is everything from basketball skills development, strength, conditioning, mindset, career pathway, coaching, all in one app. And a monthly fee is what we're attaching to it. But we're making it so affordable. I think it's 28 euros a month equivalent for absolutely everything from beginners, welcome to basketball, intermediates, which is your young kids playing domestic and rep. And then you've got your amateurs, which are the ones wanting to be pros, and then pro level workouts, everything broken down, filmed, like you name it, we've got it. And it's in the filming phase now. So we've done all the strength conditioning, mindset, coaching. I've just got to do the filming for the skill set, and then it's ready to go. So these are things that we run camps all around Australia. We run them everywhere we can go. But now we're like, how do we benefit everyone and not make it expensive? Because shit's expensive. Pay association fees, shoes, new uniform comes out. Oh, we have a special round uniform. Parents are $50, $70, $50, 200 lei, 100 lei, 1,000 lei for the year. How do you make everyone better? And that's where my business mind now off court says, my on court's important, but my off court's just as important because I need to set my network up. So when I finish basketball, I'm not just a couch potato, not knowing where to go. I've got enough things that I can put time and effort into because I've got money saved, I've got some investments, I'm okay for now. So I think that's where, for anyone that plays, if you're not actively doing it now, or at least learning, you need to start, because you can do your ACL tomorrow. I've had 10 surgeries from playing basketball. If I have 1 or 2 more, maybe that's my career done. I do my knee, maybe I don't get signed again. I do my ankle, have surgery. Maybe I'm never the same again. You just don't know. I had elbow surgery. Like, my elbow doesn't straighten on my left arm. And I woke up one day and it just was like this. And I was like, I can't straighten it. I can't bend it. Just out of nowhere. So you never know when your time is almost up. You have to be prepared enough to say, I've at least got interests and hobbies that I'm willing to pursue or to learn in order to be protected if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, really nice that you're planning like long term, not just focusing on what's going on right now. And you're trying to set up for, for yourself and also for your daughter Mia. But career wise, I know it's early to talk about retirement, but what would you have been if you weren't like a basketball player or a mechanic like you?
I think because I've gone through my career now, one of the things, especially after I retire, the app and the business is very important to me, because we actually get to help so many kids. We've trained thousands of kids now through these camps, and we give them a lot of content, a lot of written information, a lot of digital information, workouts, programs, like a starting block of like, you got to be good at this shit. If you're not good at this, you're going to skip all these steps and you're going to wonder why you're falling short. And at the higher levels, it comes down to being fundamentally sound and then having those 3 E's: effort, energy, enthusiasm. And I think that's something that I probably would like to get into more, is individual skill development. So physical and mental. That for me is something that's very important for me. But I think so many people miss out on that in day-to-day life. It doesn't matter whether you're basketball or whether you're just, you have a job or you have a business or you just have a passion. That helps everybody. And for kids, there's so much pressure on social media, and I hate the world we're growing up in now. I think it really diminishes their ability to be successful. And I think with some of the pathways that are now being available with the NIL deals in college, these are just ridiculous opportunities. And if you're not a young basketballer, male or female, and you're not pursuing collegiate sports, you are stupid, in my opinion. They are making millions of dollars for being a college athlete. And some of these girls aren't even playing a lot, aren't even that talented. And we've got guys all around the world, but I know people personally in Australia that have had $2-3 million deals for a season to go to college and to be on a team. Now, some of these players may not make $2 to $3 million in their career if they just go pro and stay professional. And they're currently playing professionally. They're not going to make $300,000 a year for 15 years because they're just not that talented or that good. But in college, they're good enough at that level. Now, if they go pro, a lot of college athletes, like I know there's a guy who just recently, he'd played in the G League, got NBA 10 days, something else, played pro for a year, and now he's going back to college. I think Bediako was the name, maybe, I think, and might be a mistake, but that name rings a bell. He's now going back to college for a year because he understands if he goes and makes, on a good European team, makes $30,000 a month, that's a really good salary. He'll make $300,000 a month. Like, why wouldn't you? So I want to help kids understand, like, get there, go there. Now, I'm not going to be the guy that says, hey, but I need such and such from me, 5%, 10%. I'm just going to say, I'm going to give you everything you need to get there from this app. And if you want to do individual sessions, let's work. Let's get you there. Because I want to see so many people flourish and achieve their dreams and give their families financial freedom, because there are now a plethora of pathways for them to explore. So that's probably my passion that I'm going to really focus on. I would like to, I always say this, but I would like to sit on a beach, drink cocktails with my wife and listen to my kids run around and, enjoy that. I'll probably get bored after like 6 months of sitting on the beach, but I want to do it for 6 months, I reckon. But I just want to, I want like quality time. Like people talk about the 5 love languages. That's a tongue twister. And quality time is like the one thing that I haven't had with the people I love most. So I want to just do that. So I would love to, I've spoken to a gentleman about doing custom cars and doing it together, funding it and learning on the fly as well, and being able to be a part of the design process and what we do and how it looks and what we're feeling, and then getting contacts and on selling and, you know, flips and stuff like that. I'd really like to do that. And I'd like to travel. You know, I'd like to put a backpack on and go camping and just explore and just like really like go and do like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of just trekking and, you know, like fending for yourself, getting away from, you know, the screens and the craziness of the world, because my world has been such a fish tank where we're the fish in the fish tank and everyone is tapping on the glass like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do this, or you're this player, you're that player. I'm just Mitch, and I want to skydive in beautiful countries and land on the beach and then have a beer afterwards, and, you know,
Why not do both at the same time?
yeah, exactly. Like that's what we all should be wanting to do is, yeah. And I have videos of me having a beer on a sunset jump on the way down. You know, like I've had some incredible experiences. Like I got to fly planes, you know, because of like, oh, you know, the pilot, oh, hey man, you can fly the plane. Here you go. And you're just flying a plane. And you're like, what the heck? Like there's been so many cool adventures that have come along with my job that it's now made me want to adventure more. But I don't want to just do it by myself. I want to share that with my family. I want to share that with my partner when that is the right time. You know, I want to invest in some of the things that make me feel good. And I know that I posted something the other day, and it was like a man's greatest desire in this world is to loved and be loved, and to be able to come home to someone who truly cares about them.
Wait for him
It's just like it's one of the most honest things. And I'm reading a book at the moment called Man's Search for Meaning, and it's about the Holocaust and a psychologist who went, and it's his story of everything there and what they had to go through. And it just gives you such a perspective of when you have everything stripped away and all you've got is a naked body and nothing else, what is it that you long for? And most of it was like a meal that they really liked and their loving one. That's what you strip it back down to. That's shit. I'd eat some cookies and hug my wife. That'd be pretty nice, you know, like if that's what, you know, comes to at some point, that's what I think that I'll really cherish about this in the world, because there's been so much craziness and so much good and some bad along the way, but yeah, just to enjoy it is everything.
Yeah. Taking a step back to enjoy.
But before that, before chilling on a beach with a beer, can you tell us something about NBA?
Yeah. Oh, my NBA experience was crazy. I played in the G League with the Long Island Nets, which is the Brooklyn Nets affiliate. I went to camp. I did the 4 to 6 weeks, I think it was, of like training camp. Did okay, pretty good. I definitely didn't think I did enough to be picked up on the roster. I was very nervous. It's very intimidating. And then I went to the G League. I spent my time in Long Island. I was doing really well, and I was going a lot back and forth from Long Island to Brooklyn to train with some of the injured players, and then come back and then train in the afternoon, and then you would constantly do that. And then the travel was very taxing, and it was a cold winter. It was really hard. Like I really struggled in the cold, and the schedule was tough. The amount of pressure on the body, like sometimes it would be an hour to 2 hours drive to the training facility in the morning. I'd train with Karis LeVert. Kenneth Farid was there. That's how I know Kenny. And then, you know, you had Jared Dudley and, you know, all these great players, D'Angelo Russell. Like we had a really good team, but you'd be there and back. And I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, it's been like 6 months or so. I played really well. They've come to me multiple times and said, hey, like, we're gonna look at signing you for a 10-day. You're gonna get a call up to the NBA. And I'm like, hell yeah, like, let's go. Like, and it just never happened. And it was like this, you're coming to me, telling me that it's gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen. And
it gets frustrated.
It was really frustrating. And that was probably the first time I really, and I knew people in the team. The coach, Will Weaver, was a phenomenal human being, who was a fantastic coach and a wonderful human, and a very good friend of mine. But it's hard because you've got the GMs of both franchises kind of talking and your agents calling you. And I just eventually said, hey, you know what? Shut the fuck up. Stop telling me this because I'm getting frustrated. And
it's like he's leading you on.
If I'm good enough, I'm good enough. If I'm not, just tell me, because I'll finish the season and that's it. Like, I'm not good enough. It's okay. Maybe I'll come back another season. But as I said, financially, it was a huge, like, you get 1 month or you get 10 times that amount. That's what I was looking at. So I sacrificed a lot that season when it was my first kind of opportunity. Then I got to a point where I was like, a team in Europe had reached out and said, hey, we want to bring you in. And it was like a really good offer. And I was like, hey, like, you know, what do we do? Do we go? And I actually spoke to the coach and I said, hey, I'll be honest, like, this is what we have. And I've been told certain things. I just don't really know if I can believe it. And I don't know if I'm good enough. Like, it's okay, but I don't want to be told something and it just not come to fruition. And then I think it was a couple of days later, we were about to leave for a 12-day West Coast strip of road games. And I got a call. It was a Sunday night and a Sunday afternoon. And I get a call and it was like, the coach called me first and he was like, hey, I get the pleasure to do this conversation, but unpack your bags. You're going to play tomorrow night against the New York Knicks at the Brooklyn home game. And I was just like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you got to call up. The GM's about to call you straight after this when I text him. And I was like, what? Like, seriously? And I just sat there and I didn't know, and at the time I was living in a room no bigger than, it was like a tiny old rundown kind of Hilton hotel, like burgundy curtains, like yellow wallpaper and an old carpet. And it wasn't a thriving situation in the middle of winter. So it was a really long time and I was really struggling. I was missing my family. I was on the phone most nights, like in tears, like missing my mum and dad, my friends, my sister. Like it was tough. And I got that call and I just remember I just cried and I cried and I cried. And then I was like, fuck, you haven't got the other call yet. Just wait. And then Trajan Langdon was the GM there at the time and called me and he's like, hey man, I get the honor of doing this, you know. And I didn't know this at the time, but there's actually a video recording and they recorded the phone call. And you just hear me crying and sniffing in the phone and I was so pumped. And I remember I went there the next day to the game. I went to shoot around in the morning and Kenny Atkinson was the head coach and he came up and he's like, man, I'm so happy for you. Like, you know, we've been wanting to do this for a while. It's just been a timing thing. And I was like, I don't care. Like, hey, man, I'm here, man. Like, let's go. I am pumped. And I was so happy. And he's like, look, tonight, suit up, enjoy the atmosphere, have a great time. Look, you're not going to play tonight, but we're on the road tomorrow. We fly out tonight after the game to Boston. We take the team plane. It's a personal plane that team flies. I was like, fancy. And he's like, you're not going to play. Just enjoy it, man. I was like, hell yeah. So I'm sitting on the bench. I'm waving towels. I'm so pumped. And then Rondé Hollis-Jefferson goes in, gets fouled. He goes to the line to shoot 2. And then I look over and he's like holding his shoulder. And he'd hurt his shoulder. So they take him off the court and whatever else. And I think it might have been the third quarter. I honestly don't know. And I'm on the bench. And if you've ever seen an NBA game or watched one, just live without, if you haven't been to an NBA game, just go to the NBA app and stream it one time from start to finish. That shit goes for like 4 hours. It is so slow. 12-minute quarters, long quarter breaks, long halftime breaks, long timeouts, TV timeouts, commercial timeouts. Just
The commercial parts are insane.
Oh my God, bro.
Insane.
And the arenas aren't hot sometimes. They're pretty cold.
And they are live. The commentators are doing commercial live. This is insane.
Man.
So they are playing like it's the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And the commentator was like, and yeah, the new Cheetos, blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
don't know. And I was like, what the actual fuck is this?
So I'm sitting there on the bench for, I'm going to say, my pre-game routine. I'm there 2.5 hours early before the game. I do my pre-game routine. I do my stretching, my taping, my mindset, my everything. You know, I'm ready. I'm on court. I'm shooting. I didn't make a shot. I missed everything. I was so nervous. I got people watching me. There's celebrities everywhere, and I'm freaking out. And then I look around, and I'm in the game, just like watching, like, oh, this is sick, like on the bench. And then this happens, and Mitch, Kenny points at me, and I'm like, huh? Mitch Creek? And he's like, yeah, come on, let's go. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, you're in. And I realized that I have to shoot the free throws. So I think he's done me a favor. You know what? Let's hook up Mitch, first game, let him shoot some free throws. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in. Let's go, boy. Now, mind you, he'd told me I'm not going to play. Just enjoy the moment and just, you know. So I was not paying attention. And I didn't know this, but until afterwards. But I went on court. Ed Davis is subbing off, and he's like, don't miss. And I was just like, oh fuck. And he like made a little remark.
The pressure.
The pressure, man. So mind you, I've sat for like 3 hours, 4 hours, just like watching the game, pre-game warm up, and you just like sit there in your sweats and everything. I walk up to the foul line. I missed the first one, brother. When I tell you, I have a routine, and it's just like, I look at the ball, I seam it up, ball on my hip, 2 breaths, 2 bounce, and I shoot. And man, I didn't feel my arms, my legs, my knees, my hips, my ankles, my fingers. That shit came out like, don't know, but it didn't feel like I even held the ball. High five the boys, you know, and I shoot the next one, and I made it. Oh man, I was like, yeah, boy. And I found out afterwards 2 things. One, I held the points per game record per 48 minutes because I played 0 seconds and I had 1 point. So it was like 1,028 points for 48 minutes because it was, I don't know how they did the math.
Franchise star.
And I was like, look, you know what, MVP, baby. So I go back, everyone's pumped on the bench, and I remember thinking like, oh shit, I just scored in the NBA game. And then afterwards, I found out that the opposing team's coach picks the player to shoot the free throws if their other team gets a player fouled and injured. So because my teammate Rondé Hollis-Jefferson went in and he shot the ball and he got fouled and he had 2 free throws, he hurt his shoulder, he gets taken off. The other team's coach picks who shoots the free throws, no matter whether they're on the court or on the bench. And he knew that I just signed a 10-day. And it was my first day as an NBA player. And he fucking picked me, the bastard. But I actually made 1 or 2. So, yeah, look, it was amazing
I
to...
guess it's a win.
Yeah, it was a win. But then that night, we get on the jet. We fly to Boston. We get in 2, 3 in the morning. We go check into our hotels. Beautiful 5-star luxury penthouse friggin' room. It was nice as hell. Like, we got a food room and everything. And amazing. Go to shoot around that morning. We're playing Boston in Boston at TD Garden. Like, this is the mecca of places, right? This is Larry Bird running around, Michael Jordan, like blood, sweat, and tears on these courts. So I was like, this is sick. And we started that game not very well. And coach looks and points at me. And I go in pretty early in the game. And my first possession, I like catch it on a closeout drive and I shoot a running floater or a shot over Aaron Baines, who was a fellow Australian at the time. So we're lined up at the foul line and what's up, Daisy? What's up, man? Like, you know. And then the possession goes down and come back, and I'm in transition on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I hear the Celtics bench, and then I just hear, "Go at the white boy, go at him, get him, get him." And I'm like, oh shit, man. He didn't score, which is great. 2 times they went at me back-to-back possessions. Luckily, he missed both shots. I don't know if it was my defense or him just missing, but
Let's call it that.
Yeah, it's your defense.
We'll say my defense for this one. But I had, I think I had 6 points, a couple of rebounds, some assists. Like, it was cool to play because you're like, I can do this. Like, I'm actually okay at basketball. This is cool. But then the highlight of it was we played 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. Comes in with the Bucks. Game plan. Start the game. No dunks. Nothing in the paint. Offensive rebounds, dunks for Giannis. Nothing. First play of the game, offensive rebound, dunk, timeout. Like 50 seconds into the game. Well, we're getting sprayed, blah, blah, blah. And then I think a little bit into that game, same thing. I get subbed in, and I'm guarding Giannis. I'm running up and down, like guarding Giannis in the post. He throws one out of bounds. Once again, not sure if it was my defense or if it was his bad offense. I'm going to say my defense just for the podcast. And in that game, at the time, I was playing with Zana Musa. So me and Musa had obviously played together in Brooklyn. And we became very good friends. We have a very good relationship there. Great to obviously see him just recently and play against him at home against Dubai. But like in that game, like there's some highlights, like running down in transition, behind the back pass to Musa. Musa lays it up. Like you're hooping against like some dudes and you're like having some fun. Like, and that's where going back to what you said and what I said earlier, you just love basketball and it's your happy place, right? You just like throwing some cool passes and having a good time. I'm thinking, man, I'm just hooping. I'm in the backyard with my mates, dunking, jumping off little ramps so we look like, take a photo without the ramp and we crop it so it looks like we're dunking. Like that's what we're doing. And that is the full circle moment that comes from having enough belief in yourself and enough resistance from all the dickheads and idiots in the world that tell you can't do something or you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. There's always going to be them. But if the inner voice that you have inside you is strong enough and loud enough to give you the self-respect, the self-love first, you don't need it from anyone else. And that's the beauty of this game and what it helps you achieve. Now, if I can help anyone else do that, job's done. One person, that's it. I've helped one person in this world. If I can help 5 or 10 or 20, or I can have a program like Wolfpack Hoops, and I can help thousands and tens of thousands of kids and young men and women, man, that's a pretty good life. And that for me is the goal. And that's why I do this. That's why I want to have conversations, because if anyone can take anything from it, like your belief in yourself has to be louder than the disbelief of anyone else.
Oh, then the voice is outside, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like also like when you go to community events like you did in Romania, with kids and stuff, that you sort of let your mark on one of them at least, because he's gonna remember those moments. He saw you. He knows you're one of the best players to ever played for UBT. So he's gonna grow up with those memories, and probably, hopefully, he's gonna be enoughly inspired that maybe he's gonna take a professional path in this. Right?
Yeah.
God knows we need a lot of more, Romanian basketball players.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really nice to see that. Go ahead if you want to.
And besides NBA, you play for Australian national team as well. You actually were in the squad in 2019, maybe. At
World
FIBA
Cup.
Asia Cup. How was to be in the squad for your
Aussie Boomers?
Yes,
Boomers.
for the Boomers.
I would say that playing for your country is the single greatest achievement you can have. Now, I don't discredit, take away, or diminish anyone playing for their own country. But in Australia, it's like we have this mateship and we have this togetherness that I think the Aussie, the Anzac spirit, that we really attach to is something that like you can't put into words the feeling of my first ever, like, hey, you're playing for the Boomers. Like that conversation. Again, I am someone I am proud of my emotions. I am proud of who I am, and I don't need anyone else to tell me otherwise. So when I get emotional, or like before, like I get emotional, I don't care. Like, good. Like, it means I'm human. Like, it's real. And I don't have to pretend like something isn't a big thing, or it doesn't, I don't care. Like, it's a big thing. And to play for your country is a big deal. I cried for like 5 minutes straight, uncontrollably. Like, this was the pinnacle for me. There was the question I got asked when I was young, and it was like, would you rather play for the Boomers, or would you rather play in the NBA? And I said Boomers. And I did both. So it's pretty cool.
I wanted actually to ask you that. So the peak of your career, would you say it's playing for the Boomers?
Being told I was picked for that team, and I actually had a conversation just very recently. And I was like, man, that's still my number one thing, was getting picked. And then they say, well, what's your second favorite? Boomers is great, but like, what's your second favorite thing? You said being told, and I said playing for the Boomers was the second greatest thing. And then maybe it's like, maybe the free throws is a pretty cool story. Like, it's a different way to do it. But the Boomers was just awesome. To be a part of that was amazing. It meant a lot to me. It still means a lot to me. There's been some very difficult times in my career where I had things that were said or alleged that weren't true, and we had to, stand on our own 2 feet and defend those, and we did. And we made sure that we moved forward, and we tried not to look at the past and say, hey, look, regardless of what, as I said, anyone else thinks or says, it doesn't matter. I know my truths, and my people know my truths, and that's all that matters. And unfortunately, it kind of kept me out of the Boomers for quite a few years. And because of that, it left with a bit of I'll be honest, a bit of a sour taste, because I was probably in a position where I can help the team. There's a lot of tournaments, there's a lot of trips, and I didn't get to go on a lot because of some things that had been said. And even though we proved ourselves to be, all good and true, I missed out on quite a few caps of playing for the Australian team. And, I've expressed that I'd like to go back, and they've expressed to me that they'd like to have me there. There's new people in, and, I think that one of the things that you want in this world is a fair chance. And for me, to be picked the first time, incredible. To be picked the second time, amazing. To be picked the third time, amazing. It doesn't ever get less. It doesn't matter if it's FIBA Asia Cup. It doesn't matter if it's a qualifying window. It doesn't matter if it's a World Cup. Now, obviously, World Cup and Olympics, the pinnacles, right? Like, the second is World Cup, the pinnacle is the Olympics. That's always going to be the dream. Can I play for an Olympic team? I might have missed that window, given what I just said. So it was hard to imagine that, not being the one thing maybe that I didn't get to achieve in my professional career. EuroLeague is the one that I haven't yet, which I would like to, hopefully one day. Fingers crossed. Maybe UBT become a EuroLeague team. Yeah. And yeah, to obviously play in the Olympics. But man, like, there's just this feeling like you stand arm in arm with your brothers, with your Australian jersey, your number 55, Creek on the back. Like, I have all of my jerseys. My dad has every, in a frame, he has every single jersey I've ever worn, from like a kid to pros. Doesn't matter what country, where, Australia, every jersey we have. I always keep them, and everyone always says, hey, can I get a jersey? And I'm like, nope. Like, wow, come on, man, give us a jersey. And I'm like, I have a black and I have a white. I have mum and I have dad. There's no, if you somehow become better than my mum or dad, which is impossible, you can get a jersey then. But otherwise, UBT have a store, you can purchase one, and I will always sign it for you. But it's man, just to have your jersey is just you can't even put it into the words like you feel. Like, you fold it like perfect. It seems, and you put it in your drawer, and I have all my gear, like tracksuits and shorts and training jersey. Keep one of everything every time. So my mum and dad hate it, because when I'm out of country, I have a storage unit, but they have 5, 6, 7 sports bags full of like Australian gear or team gear. And yeah, man, if you have aspirations to try and pursue like a country nomination, whether it's juniors or seniors, and you gotta do it, because it's really one of those things that it could never happen again. And I've had teammates, even last season in Canada, we had a teammate, David, and David had a chance to play for his national team. First time ever. We had semi-finals coming up. The quarterfinals coming up. And it would mean David would be away for that. And he asked me the question, and the coach was like, look, he's very young, he's such and such, and we need him. Like, he's a huge spark for us, and he's been great for us. Locker room and on court. And his question to me, the player asked me, and I said, you got to go. I don't care if we get our ass kicked because you are gone, you go. Because you may never get this again. And if they're serious, and they were serious, and he played well and did well, but what happens if next camp, he doesn't go, next camp he gets invited, gets injured, misses out, and then he's not the same player? We talked about this. You just never know. And, even that, I was like, you got to go and play for your country. Because if it never happens again, you will kick yourself in the balls every day because you didn't do it. But if you go and we win or we lose, well, guess what? There's going to be other professional games you're going to play in. Now, you may never play in a finals ever again, but what's more important, playing in the finals for a professional league or playing for your national team? Which one weighs more to you in which hand? And that's all I asked him. I said, I'm not telling you to go or to stay, but I am telling you, if you don't go, our friendship's gone. And look, the coach understood. He was like, I back it 100%. I want him to go. And unfortunately, not every coach or organization is going to see it that way. I've asked Silver, I said, hey, if the Australian team ever called, what is your stance? And he goes, absolutely, you go. Simple. And that's a man who coaches a national team, played for the national team. Like, he gets it. So it's such a special honor that you can never take away from the fact that you have your country on your chest and your name on your back. And that's one of the sweetest things in sport.
Fortunately, it's clear for us that you're not going to be able to play for Romanian national team.
We can't do the fats. We can't get the fats treatment.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you is mentioning Silva. And he strikes us as a coach that tries to coach you beyond the basketball court, right? And I wanted to ask you, what are some lessons that you've learned from him?
I think every coach has their own unique way they coach the game, they've experienced the game, and I think culturally, European coaches are very different to American coaches, to Australian coaches, to Asian coaches, and I think that the hard part is always you have like coach, player, and then you have, friend, then you have like, someone that you can rely on in tough situations, and you've got, when all the shit hits the fan, like you've got different relationships. Now, player to coach, that's the first one. Do we have a player-coach relationship? And what does that look like? There's then, okay, I'm a friend and he's a coach. How do we balance that? So for me, the evolution of my basketball and professional experience is, how do we start to, make this star a star? Like, I look at it and there's like 5 different areas, and you have the coach. The coach is this big scary person, and you can't be a friend, or you can't do this, or you can't have a beer with him. I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, Silver, let's go get some wine and eat some fucking sushi and talk, because I don't know you. And you want to rely on me when we're playing Partizan in front of 50,000 crazy fans? Like, you need to know who you're dealing with. Now, not every player is going to do that, and most players won't do it. I don't understand why, because all I'm doing is creating a relationship. And the importance of relationships gives you clarity, understanding, and transparency.
Solution way of communicating, right?
Exactly. Because essentially, if you're single and you have to go and meet a girl or meet a guy, whatever your preference, you have to have a conversation, right? And we sometimes don't get to pick that. Imagine your mum picks who you're going to go on a date with. Now, that's the first example I say because I didn't pick my teammates. Silver and the GM did. So they've picked me 12 to 15 people that I now have to get along with, and we have to have a relationship. But if my relationship with the coach isn't good and my relationship with the team isn't good, well, you're in a shit sandwich and you have to eat it, and that's not fun.
Yeah, you're going to see that relationship on the court as well.
So, look, there's going to be times where people go, oh, Silver's going off at us and going crazy. Yeah, but sometimes we deserve it. Sometimes we don't. But he's quick to put his hand up and say, hey, yeah, I fucking didn't do that right. But I'm also quick to say, hey, fuck, I didn't do that right either. That's my bad. Like, I got to do this and this so we don't get into this. So, but you don't have that relationship and the ability to do that without actually spending time. So I think it was maybe a week or two, maybe 2 weeks after being here. We went out, we had a couple of bottles of wine, we have some food, we talk, we create a dialogue to start. And then it's, we're on the road, after the game, maybe having a beer, just relaxing, cutting film straight away. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting back to the hotel because I can't sleep. And, I look and I'm like, hey, let's go get a beer. So we go and sit and have a beer and you have a chat. And you're going to talk basketball. You're going to talk friendships, relationships, all this stupid stuff. And now it's not like he's this employed person to control over me, my experience. Because I got 10 months with Silver. I got 10 months with Cluj. I've got 10 months with my teammates. And then if, you re-sign, maybe you've got another year. If you don't re-sign, maybe that's it. But what kind of relationship can you build in that 10 months? Now, Silver's been someone that has been firm but fair. We all have areas we need to improve on, me especially. Him as well. He's still a young coach. He's got a long career ahead of him. And he's got a really good foundation of principles, terminology. The way he communicates is good. I like some of the sayings he has. There's going to be a day where I'm going to roll into a game and you're going to see it and he's going to laugh. I hope we win that game and I hope I play well because he's going to kick me in the ass. But look, I've got a good relationship with him because I've taken the time out of my day to go and actively seek a conversation. Now, I don't have to be best mates with him, but I got to respect him and he's going to have to respect me, because if I take the time to get to know you guys and then you start cussing me out like a dickhead, I'm going to be like, mate, what are you doing? We've had this conversation 50 times already. We don't need to have that. I know when I've done something or haven't rotated or whatever else. Now, in my head, I already know I didn't rotate on the weak side against Cedevita because I was late for a half step. We denied the American. He backdoor, and now he's far more athletic than I am. I do not need to be on that poster. I was late. That's my bad. I fucked up. Now, Silver already knows that I was late, and he knows that I know that I was late, and I know why.
Yeah, I saw that interaction.
And I just looked at him and I was like,
yeah.
fuck, that's me. My bad. But if I don't have those relationships with him, maybe that's a point where he communicates to me in a way that isn't effective for me to be at my best, which then entail we don't get a better performance out of me for the other 39 minutes and 17 seconds that are going to happen. Like, okay, this one patch of time, I didn't make a good play. He then talks to me in a aggressive manner, and I don't like it, and then I'm pissed off, and now I'm not thinking about the game. I'm thinking about how my coach spoke to me because I didn't go and have conversations early enough in the season to create a dynamic. Now, I've always tried to have good relationships with coaches from making an effort. It doesn't mean I'm going to have a great relationship with that coach. And some coaches just aren't going to want to open up as much. I would say I would love all coaches to be more open and to give some of their family, who they are to their family, a little bit to the teams. Because, I've seen Silver around his daughters and, they all come up after the game and I always play paper, scissors, rock with Soph and she always kicks my ass. I'm gonna get her. I'm shit at paper, scissors, rock. I don't know how I'm so bad. But, I'm not. My win percentage in paper, scissors, rock is definitely on the low end. But that's it. You got to have real relationships. And that's how you have a real chance to create an environment which is easier to understand. So look, I got a lot of time and I got a lot of respect for what he's done up until now, where he's come from as a player. But as you know, he asked me at the start of the season, or he asked us at the start of the season, like, you know, where have you won? What have you done? Like, tell me. Like, Jeff's been a successful EuroLeague star, won championships, spent a lot of time at Real Madrid. Like, Jeff has an incredible resume. Have any of us won a EuroLeague championship? Have any of us played EuroLeague? No. So none of us can really, you know, separate the two, because we're sitting there going, well, hey, he's a successful player. Who else? You know, you've won in Romania. I've won in Turkey. But it's like, well, have we won in EuroLeague? Have we won in the NBA? Because that's where it really matters. And for us, we need to win Arbor League. We need to win Eurocup. If we don't, we suck, in my opinion. We didn't do what we set out to achieve, and that's it. I don't want to be an overachieving team. I want to be a team that is expected because we deliver with good people, good facilities, good personnel, a great fan base. We do it the right way. We respect our fans. We respect each other as teammates, but we hold each other accountable to a high level, because high-performing teams don't just yell and bark. They support, encourage, and nurture. And then sometimes you need to light a fire under some people, but that's okay. You can do that. And if you have the relationship, it's so much easier. But if you don't, yeah, it's hard. And I've had times where, man, it's been hard. My daughter's not here, you know. Some areas of my life had changed kind of recently, and it's very difficult to navigate. So I'm, you know, frustrated in my personal life, and then I come to training, I'm frustrated, and then maybe Silver's frustrated because we're not forming at a high enough level, or we're not giving what we need to every day. And it's the daily habits which makes the games easier. We can't just do it in a game and expect trainings to be piss easy. And, we'll be fresh for the game. No, we need to execute training the same way we want to execute the game. And that's essentially what he preaches. It's different. Some people are different again. Some people, they want to drill you into the ground and crazy. And that works for some people. Sometimes it doesn't. But I think with our group, we have such a great group of guys. We get along so well, and it's a vibe. So it makes it really easy because we're so connected as a group, and we all have a lot of time for each other and a lot of respect and a lot of fun, that even if we're having trouble at practice or the games, we don't sit in the rooms and be like, we're just like, and then we start laughing because you're like, fuck, we sucked in Venice, hey? Yeah, we were shit.
And, well, focus on yourself and the next game, and what can you do? It's a loss, yes, of course. But...
yeah.
And actually, I noticed something when Silva calls timeouts. I don't know, Arbor League, Eurocup, doesn't matter. He actually listened to, I don't know, you or Darren Russell or Patrick Richard.
Yeah.
And it's nice because he's like planning the next move, the next scheme, and etc. And we're involved as well. It's a both way to communicate, and it's really nice.
Yeah, and it goes back to, you got to know the game. You have to be able to understand, like, time and score, last 3, 4, 5 possessions, offense, defense. What do they got? Momentum, home, away. What are the win percentages? They score with 29 seconds to go. Like, you can't inbound it straight away. You got to hold it and delay for 5 seconds because the game clock keeps running. You got to know all those things. And if you don't know those things, how can they turn to you and say, we're going to listen to Mitch right now because, you know, well, we're going to listen because he is aware of some of these things. And some of the guys are more experienced, some of the guys not as experienced. But it comes with time. And, like, I've played 15 years now. Like, I don't feel 33, and like a 15-year player, I feel like 6 or 7 in my body. But I feel great, and I can help my teammates, and I can sometimes help some of the responsibility that the coach has to shoulder, because I'm willing to be wrong, and I don't have to be perfect. I just have to give effort. Effort is a skill, yes, but you train it by doing it every day, by doing hard shit, by training 2-3 sessions, and then going and doing an hour and a half class at night, because that strength, extra conditioning, and that peace that I get from that allows me to come in fresh the next day, even though I might be tired from it. That accumulative effect over a longer period of time gives me a chance to be highly successful in my pursuit of being a champion. And, you know, if we come second, I don't think that's good enough. Even if we have the 10th best roster or the 15th or the 7th highest paid roster, whatever you call it, you know, invested into the roster, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't want to be overachieving by saying we finished top 4. I think we have what it takes to be one of the best teams, without a doubt. And when it comes to the playoffs, it's going to be who shows up at that time. Because we can make the Euro Cup, we can make other league playoffs. But unless we get to the playoffs, it's irrelevant. And if we get to the playoffs, I think I don't know how it's structured, but it's like 1 or 3 games sometimes. And then it goes longer games. But you just got to win once. You have a bad shooting night, or he hurts himself, or something happens, doesn't go in, and ours goes in, man, that's good for us. So, look, I got a lot of time and respect for, you know, coaches, because it's a really hard job to manage 15 relationships. I have to manage my relationships with the team. It's a bit easier, though, than a coach. So, hats off to all coaches. It's a hard job, and one I do not want. So when I retire, I'll be doing some skill development with kids, and I will be drinking my beers on the beach with my family, hopefully.
No coach planning for the future.
No coach planning at all, I don't think. Yeah.
Damn it. Sorry.
I have another question. When you hit up a 3-pointer, this celebration, where did that come from?
I don't know where it came from. I've had some suspicious 3-point celebrations in my time, and I don't know. I honestly am trying to think when the first time I did it was, and I had a player last year, Carl Mangus. We played together in Canada, and he would do like the 3-face mask thing, and I would do like the double face into like the 3 pistols. And then that turned into like this, and then it turned into like this, and now me and Guz have this, and we got a photo one day, and now everyone seems to do it. So I get confused sometimes, because I'm like, and I said in one of my posts, I was like, shout out Kyle Mangus for the 3-face. I stole it from him, and I'm stealing it forever, because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, you made it your own.
Yeah, but I modified it, and then remodified it, and then me and Guz have modified it, so... It's cool when people I try and every game I make sure that I get every fan. I don't skip 1 or 2 and then keep walking and go to the change rooms because I'm frustrated. Like, I may look happy after a loss because I'm just like, man, these people have come to see us, and that's really cool, and that's amazing to have that support. So every person gets the time and the detail that they've given us. We have to give them back as well, I believe. So it's cool when people are like, oh, can we do it? And you're like, yeah, like, you do this. So, yeah.
It's our trademark.
Yeah, it's...
From now on.
Yeah. It's very cool. It's wholesome in a way. You got to enjoy the game, and the moments you sometimes forget to enjoy. And if, you know, a bunch of the fans, when I do this, they do this too, it's like, cool. They now have a core memory, and they say, man, I like Mitch. He has so much fun on the court, or, you know, I don't always play great, and that's okay. But I try and make sure that I have fun, and I have it written on my shoes. If you ever see my shoes, I always have writing around the top of the sole, and it's always written on every pair. It's like, are we having fun? And
very, very obvious that you guys play with joy, and you're a team, basically.
I appreciate that.
I love that.
We got a great bunch of guys, and we play a fun brand of basketball, albeit we turn it over too much. We are working on that, I promise you. But yeah, I think we play a fun, exciting brand, and that sometimes comes with a little more risk. Yeah. And I think, but I do believe that, you know, with consistent work, we'll tighten that up, and that's one area that we have to. We understand that, but man, I'm having fun out there, and we got some great players, and you know, I can see some of these guys. I can see Fats going to EuroLeague next year, and I'm just happy for the guys that get to, you know, I get to share the court with. Because, you know, it may not be here forever, and I want to remember it while I'm here. So, yeah.
That's really good, yeah.
He's a gun.
We're gonna remember though, for sure. We're gonna end this with a quick round of questions.
Let's go.
Let's start with the first one. All right. How do you get a 6-pack? I I mean, not the beer of 6-pack. Is it done in the gym or in the kitchen?
Both.
Cool. What are 3 things that you would improve about yourself, not related to basketball?
3 things to work on. I would say patience with myself. I would say, that's a really good one. Patience with myself. Being able to listen better in difficult moments and taking a pause before then answering. Not letting my first ego answer it. Just sit and shut up and hear what they're saying. I would like to improve my receding hairline that is slowly coming in. I keep growing it because I need to.
I don't know. You're making me work with the mullet. So.
Those 2, and
that's
keeping a full head of hair and not turning into some of my predecessor coaches.
What was your favorite game this season? Even though it's a loss or a win.
My favorite game so far this season, I think the Dubai game. I thought we played really well, but we fell short in the second game. But I thought the way we played was really inspiring. I think personally, just to actually
the one that you played in Dubai, right? Or the one
here.
Here.
Yeah, and even if we
both were really good though.
Yeah, I thought the first time we had a real chance as well. But to play against like EuroLeague teams and to feel like you can actually not just perform as a team, but perform as an individual, because we are all individuals playing a team sport, and you can't be a team without 5 individuals playing together. But just to know that you can play against guys that level is a nice feeling. To see the ball go in the hole and, a couple of funny 3 celebrations and stuff like that, and to see their coach going a bit, panic stations. They got the better of us at the end with some very high quality baskets from McKinley Wright and Dwayne Bacon. I thought they did a really good job, but sometimes you just get outclassed. But I thought we played at a high level. We've had some other games where we've just moved the ball, and it's like pass, kick, drive, pass, drive, pass, wide open shot. So the moments in the games are what I love. Like, we just move the ball so well, and man, I honestly love seeing like all the players, but I just love seeing guys come down with confidence. And Fats go like 3, and we find him again, back-to-back 3, timeout. And then we come in, and then we go, Fats off a look, a short roll, goes from the corner short, and then he dunks it. Maybe the windmill that Guz missed, that was a highlight.
Oh, man, that was...
How about my lob off the backboard to Guz that was fucking terrible? But they're the moments that I remember. I don't care about the wins as much. I actually just like the moments, because that's what we're going to sit down one day over our rocking chair and our cup of tea and our beer and be like, man, remember that time I threw that stupid ass alley-oop? Man, that was terrible.
Yeah, but also there's games like the ones the young one Miron had, Darius Miron.
Miron's game, man, that was just such a beautiful moment. He works so hard, and he's going to be a star of the future. Really, really big shout out to him.
What's important for you, for a basketball player, speed or strength?
Speed.
Scoring or passing?
Scoring. Passes don't help the score go up.
And just to clarify, basketball IQ over basketball talent, right?
Yeah.
All right. And for ending a game, would you rather have game-winning shot, a game-winning block, or a game-winning steal?
Ooh, I'd like to sit down and guard like one of their good players, and you get a stop. Maybe not a steal, but just a stop. Forced shot, he misses it. Just a good, solid possession. A block would be cool, but my athletic days are starting to dwindle a little bit. A bucket's always a good one, but man, any possession to help influence winning, to win a game on the last possession is mid.
Some years ago,
yeah,
you were very pumped up, like hell.
Yeah.
That was before the...
Yeah, that was a dunk on Delhi. That was a big moment. everyone went crazy. It was both Melbourne teams. We don't really like each other, and there's a big rivalry there. And they kicked our ass a bunch. I got the dunk. I turned around to celebrate and yelling. And as I turned, I got shirt fronted from half court. And it didn't take me out, but you know when you just get hit and you kind of just fall, and then my brain was like, oh, that's what just happened. And I jumped up and chased him into the stands, and everyone was in, and you know, like bygones be bygones. Like he and Mason and I, the guy that did it, we're cool. You know, I don't hold any grudges. I was pissed off afterwards, and I posted the dunk, and I just tagged that guy that hit me. I was so petty, but yeah, it was a cool moment. One of those moments that you look back and you're like, really cool. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I think I made SportsCenter in the top 10. So I was like, you know what? I'm here for it. And it gets shared every now and then, which is nice. Like, oh man, that white dude's cool. And then someone's like, oh, that was you? And I'm like, yeah, man, you know, what can I say? Like, I got one good dunk a year at the moment, so I got to save them up.
It was funny, like you're lying there after he pushes you, like 2 or 3 seconds, and then you're, okay, fuck it.
Yeah, my mind switched, and yeah, there's a photo, and I'm like, and it's like frame by frame, and then I just get a shoulder like here, like this, and I just like shirt front of me, and I was like, and then you just see me come out of the Tyson Fury when he gets knocked out by Deontay Wilder, almost just resurrected, and yeah, but you can't do anything. Like, it's just a bunch of like, oh, I'll get you. Yeah. We're not gonna get each other, but
it's not like hockey or something.
No.
I did say in one of the things that UBT put out, they're like, what's one rule you would add or change? And I was like,
I remember that.
And I was like, you can fight another player, and if you win,
hockey, right?
if you win, like you get, you know, he's off, and you get to play 5 against 4 for say 2 minutes. But then once a game, the coach can challenge the other coach, and it's like 5 minutes. So if Silver fights someone else and Silver wins, they only get 4 players for the next 5 minutes. But you don't have to do it each game. But I was like, that'd be cool. You'd see
That would be such a
coaches going at it.
He's Eastern European, so I guess...
They could. I think the Europeans would get behind that. Yeah.
All right. I think that was pretty much it with all the questions. Mitch, again, thank you very much for coming and giving us your time.
You're welcome.
Hopefully you had a good time with us as well.
Definitely, thank you.
We know we did, but we would like to end this with a challenge.
Sure.
We don't have to do it now. We can, rain check, but we would like to do a chess game.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be pretty quick because I'm not very good, but I'm down to play a game for sure. Yeah.
All right, and that was it for this episode. We're going to do this off camera. We won't tell anyone who won or who lost. So.
That's okay. You can share the score. We already know how it's going to go, so it's okay.
All right, thanks
No,
again, Mitch.
thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you again, and Haidu.
Hey, dude.
Haidu.